Hey guys, so today I am talking about how to handle difficult people. Yeah, you know those people, negative people, difficult people who irk your nerves and push your buttons. Those people who are not so positive. Don't lie, that's exactly how a lot of people react to people who are negative people who, you know, those kinds of people, right? That complain a lot, see life and situations from a glass half empty instead of half full. Before I can even get to the point where I would like to talk to you about how you can handle people like this, first we have to talk about some other things. We have to talk about why these people are negative as you perceive them as being negative, pessimistic, and difficult. Okay? Oh, there's so many facets to this. If a person is negative, it could be something that is their viewpoint, that is their perspective of life, that maybe that's how they've always thought, or maybe it is something that something happened to cause them to be that way. I mean, period, something happened to cause them to act and speak and perceive things this way. Our childhood is so important. Let me repeat that. Our childhood is so important. This is the time of your life where you are learning basically what will become the foundation of your belief system for the remainder of your life, your habits, the way you think, the way you act. Okay, this is because of how you are raised by your family, your parents, the kind of actual environment, you know, where you live, location-wise, culture, religion. So all these factors go into childhood. Okay, so it is very, very common for people to experience some form of trauma or emotional upset when they are a child. Many do, even if it's something small. From something small all the way to something really, really more traumatic and severe. So when trauma happens in our childhood, okay, this really leaves a mark on a person, and including if they are raised by a family that maybe have a certain mindset, maybe the way they perceive the world and behave, this child is just doing what they know and what they see. Their family is this way, therefore they are this way. A person can break through these patterns and break through all of this when they dedicate themselves to becoming an individual and personal development, self-help, healing, becoming more spiritual. So there are ways to break out of this, right? Okay, so that's one reason why a person may be negative, pessimistic, or difficult. There's something that happened in their childhood that has traumatized them or hurt them to where they close their hearts, you know, they become more defensive, they stop seeing the world maybe as something as wonderful as what they used to see it, if they ever did see it that way. It truly depends on each individual's experience and what took place. But bottom line, when a person is difficult or pessimistic, it is because there is a difference in perspective and there is trauma. There are blocks within the heart. There are blocks. Okay? So that's like the main reason. One of the biggest reasons why a person may be this way. And of course, there are other things that happen in our lives to where it can affect us emotionally, right? To where we change. That is very possible. Maybe you were very optimistic and then someone broke your heart and you were so hurt and you said to yourself, I will never let someone hurt me ever again. And so you became very cautious, closed your heart, you don't trust as much, you don't believe in the magnificence and magic of love, and you change your perspective on relationships and love. Or maybe you always dreamt of doing something, and as in you had this dream of a career or doing something with your life, some kind of dream, some kind of goal, and maybe it did not happen. Maybe it did not pan out the way you thought it would, and it hurt you. So you also hold on to this pain. Bottom line, it has to do with pain and the lack of healing that pain and the lack of compassion in their life. The lack of them being able to show compassion and love to themselves, and also the lack of love and compassion possibly around them, the family members, friends, whatever it may be, the partner, anything like that. And then, so if you are able to then look at a person differently whenever you experience someone who is being difficult, pessimistic, argumentative, a Debbie Downer, negative, change that perspective to, wow, that is someone who is just hurting right now. They're hurting. They're hurting, and they don't know how to say, I'm hurting, I'm upset, I'm disappointed. These are all emotions that are within them that maybe they have repressed, or they're in denial, they don't want to admit it. Maybe they know it's there, but they don't want to talk about it. Some feelings are so uncomfortable. And then there are some people who truly do repress feelings. Maybe when they were younger, they were never taught that it's okay to feel. Maybe they were shamed for feeling so much. As children, we feel so much. I worked with kids in middle school and elementary school kids, and they feel so much and they express so much. And hey, I was a kid once. We were all a kid once. I know you remember feeling. And some children are shamed for feeling, especially boys, males. Males are shamed for feeling. Many boys, males, when they were young, were taught not to feel, or that it was not okay to feel, it was not okay to cry. So you have that as well. So, and that has been an issue, is one of the main this has to do with healing the collective male, the divine masculine, and that I will talk about much more in my podcast and other videos, but let me stick to the topic at hand. So that is one reason, another reason that a person may come off so difficult and harsh, negative, etc., 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 right? Okay. There are so many reasons, there are so many stories we can go over, so many experiences. But the bottom line is the root is pain. When a person is that way, it is because they are hurting from something, holding on to something, even if they don't realize it. A lot of people are in denial and don't realize that they are in denial. A lot of people are storing pain and old stories and don't realize that they are. I had a repressed memory from childhood and didn't know I was carrying this with me. I just have this piece of hair that's still... I was carrying a story for so long. So, we all have stories, and we all carry pain. But in how we handle the pain can be different, okay? Of course, like one of the main ways to, even as a child will defend their self. A person will be defensive. It's to protect, right? So that's exactly why they are acting this way. They are essentially protecting themselves, shielding themselves from being hurt even more. So this is something I would like you to try. Next time you come into contact with or you interact with someone who is negative, whose energy is much different than yours, that you perceive as being negative, a low vibration. See them through the eyes of love. See them with eyes of compassion. I had my heart blown wide open when I experienced some really hard stuff for 2 to 3 years. And after that, I was never able to look at the world and look at people the same again, which is one of the best things that could have happened to me in my life. It's because after that, I became even more compassionate and even more tuned into my intuition, to where I no longer saw a guy with an attitude problem. Whenever I would see a guy, I'm just giving an example, that had an attitude problem, I could see right through him and could see, oh, he had his heart broken. And then if I could no longer see a woman who was a show-off, instead it was, wow, she was never appreciated. She was never appreciated. No one was ever around to tell her how amazing she is, how beautiful she is. And so she feels like she has to prove herself to everyone around her. Because honestly, she's really trying to prove to herself that she is worthy and that she is adequate. So I just completely started to see everything differently, because I could see that everybody is carrying a story. I know that in the New Age movement, things change a lot, but there are so many practices that were talked about and shared, about people who are pessimistic. Stay away from them. Set boundaries, and boundaries are good. I am not saying not to set boundaries. Boundaries are healthy. You need to know what you are able to give, what you are able to offer. And you have to honor yourself. You have to respect yourself. You have to love yourself. But it's just not healthy, and it's not loving to say, you're pessimistic, you're negative, so you cannot be in my life anymore, and I don't want to be anywhere near you ever again. how will that person or the next person or our race heal and evolve if we continue to treat one another this way? Yeah, I'm seriously asking you that.